And so I'm going to ask us to now talk a little bit about a personal example. Recently, within our company, 3Peak, we decided to shift roles. And so Mazen very graciously and with a lot of courage was our pioneer and was our head of sales for 6 months. And I was our head of marketing. And just last week, 7 days ago, we said, you know what? Actually, we need to do a shift in our company. So now Mazen is the head of marketing and I, Mino, will be the head of sales. And what we've noticed is that there's something about being in a role. One, a role has its own energy signature, which has been fun for us to kind of trade notes, Mazen and I, about what the energy signature of our different roles as we switch them feels like. But also there's something about being in your right role that has a big impact on, I don't know what to call it, our soul, our spirit, our productivity, our skills. And so Mazen, I would like to start with you, and then since you're our pioneer, and then I'll give my 2 cents about what I'm experiencing. What does it feel like to be what I hope is in your proper role versus a role that was important for us to go into, but might not have been the organic role for each one of us?
And now we're gonna go personal. So I'm like, whoo, it's getting intimate here, but vulnerable.
I'm
But yeah,
adjusting my seat like I'm getting in cozy.
it's good. It's good. So to be in proper role is again like it's what's the say in English? Like it's a fish outside of water, and then the fish back to the water. So the fish was outside of water in a small aquarium. This is how I experienced it. I could navigate that aquarium, but I knew I was not meant to stay in this small aquarium, and I was sometimes reacting, and then but then I'm like, I really belong to the sea. I really belong to the ocean. But I was doing the same thing that I would do in the ocean, which is apparently later on I understood, you told me, apparently I was doing more marketing and awareness and then meeting people and networking. For me, I didn't see the difference because for me, all was the water until you and Krisana beautifully intervened, and actually you cut it and then you made me the explanation. But on top of that, I was also doing sales at the end. Sales was tiring. It was very not natural. And then when I'm now in my role and I'm like, oh, I did all of that, but I'm not asked to do that extra thing that brought so much contraction in the system. And I could see the contraction in my relating to both of you, in my relating to prospects, to network people, to friends. It was not natural. That's what I would say. It feels way better. It feels enjoyable. Actually, I'm back to really enjoying my day-to-day work. I'm more honest. I'm back to full honesty with myself first, with you as my business partners, and with everyone I meet along the way.
And I'll share, again, this is my story, so I'm not saying it's your story, but my story is that, we went into these functions as a bit of a healing journey. So I know for me with marketing, I had this unconscious desire since a child to be recognized, to be seen for fame. And when I went into marketing, it helped me for the first time in probably my life to start expressing, right? So I had to write content, I had to make videos, I put my face out there, I put my ideas out there. And I did all this 6 months. I made hundreds and hundreds of pieces of content across all these different social media platforms. And then I finally had an existential crisis, and it was like, why is this important to me? And I started to realize it's actually not that important to me. It's a childish fantasy I was hanging on to. And when I dropped the outcome, it was very about getting something from outside me. And when I dropped the fantasy and I dropped the outcome orientation, I realized I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to market. It's not who I am. It's not my soul mission on this planet. And then I realized that actually sales feels more natural for me. I like solving people's problems. I like telling them a solution. I'm okay with like telling them this is what I think it's worth. And I'm okay to kind of be on their ass until they either sign or say, we don't want to work with you. So for me, actually, this shift, I felt so much more in my, like you said, back in water. And I think for both of us, what we've noticed is even within a week, our enjoyment, productivity, relaxation has skyrocketed. Like things are flowing. where, with our company, we're trying to figure out how do we flow and get more money. And within 7 days of this switch,
Mm.
we have 4 or 5 new deals that we're about to sign. It's really something that it was almost instant. The moment that we aligned, it starts to take off again. And there's all this excitement that Mazen is building for us in the communities that he operates in. So there's a flow that's happening all of a sudden,
Yes.
whereas before something was stuck. And I'll even say, like, now I'm going to bring in another CEO we're working with, and we use this kind of methodology, I call it technology, to look at some of the systems that operate. And what was apparent to us is actually a role was missing in the organization.
Hmm.
And because the role was
Mhm.
missing, there was a lot of dysfunction within the company. And by even talking about, actually, we've identified a role is missing, all of a sudden things started to come into alignment. Order emerged, happiness, joy emerged.